Hello my friends, this is János, and today there's not going to be much talk about shutter and cameras, but today we are chilling and talking about music. This will be a lot of fun, and I'm going to bridge the gap here and go a little bit deeper into what I mean about enjoying music. Those of you who are audiophiles or listen a lot of music, you have all different ideas on what you want to hear, and I'd like to meet the two camps, audiophiles and non-audiophiles, and even and provide information that's useful for both camps, because ultimately all of us want to listen to our favorite music, the music that we passionately love, and have the deepest connection to that music. That is every person's ultimate goal, I believe. At least that is mine, and all of those audiophile friends of mine who really progressed with the playback level of their system and reached truly spectacular systems, they had this same goal, that they really wanted to connect to the music they love. And I think that is really important, because nowadays there is a trend, and this trend has been going on forever, since we have marketing, that when you have an audio system that is capable for a high quality, high fidelity, end game, high end, all of these different words and catchphrases are to describe that there is something to attain, and there is something that you could always do better. And from the point of marketing, a lot more money can be spent and must be spent to reach your goal. However, I think how that hype and how that illusion is working is not always to our benefit. And that's why I would like to share my ideas, how some of my favorite music and how some music which I have just discovered or known, but have not been expressly passionate for, just consider it as cool music or good music or worth to listen to. What do I think about their reproduction using my home stereo for that? And for those of you who don't know what my home stereo is, I have passionately built it for 2.5 decades, so it's the progression of basically of 25 years of refining and fine-tuning it, and putting tremendous effort into it, and the effort I placed in it was just beyond the extreme. That's what I could tell, and beyond the extreme compared to my means. That beyond the extreme to someone else's means might mean something different. So when you think of how far you go, how much effort and resources you put into building your stereo system is always personal, and you should always compare that to your state. Don't compare yourself to someone else. And especially now I'm talking to those of you who live in countries where you have very different financial means than people in those societies where you can afford very expensive equipment. Price by itself is not a guarantee for ultimate experience. It might not get you what you want, what kind of sound, what kind of experience you want to get, but it's just a state of freedom, that you have a wider range of choices available for you. But even within a narrower range of price range, you can still put together an audio system that's very pleasant for you, that will give you a very deep experience with your music. And now what I would like to get into is that stereo system that you have put together. Is it going to be able to do everything? Is it going to be able to play the maximum of all of your music that you have? And the answer to that will be very dependable. One thing is that the more you specialize your audio gear, the more it will be able to deeply, really fully, at a very deep immersion, reproduce certain types of music, certain genres, or maybe certain recording studios, certain ways of mixing, certain ways of recording, and those equipment which are really good for one type are not the best for another type. That doesn't mean that they won't do multiple kinds of recordings well, but the more extreme you go into a certain direction, the more the discrepancy will be between different kinds of recordings, how that music was recorded, and you might get yourself into a very narrow corner, and that's the danger of today's marketed highest cost audio systems, that they really back you down to an extremely narrow corner where you are able to experience that amazing sound quality, that amazing experience only from a very few particular recordings, which also happen to be extremely expensive recordings, and most of the music that you love from your childhood will be absolutely unlistenable in those highly focused systems which are geared to reproduce exclusively only those few select recordings that were expressly designed for them. And how does that work? How does that translate to real life? So is it possible to have a high quality audio system that plays that kind of music that we love really well, but at an extremely high level, at such a connective experience that goes beyond your wildest imagination? Yes, it's possible. So for those of you who don't know, I have another channel. It's called Real World Audio, and in that channel, that's how I describe the technicalities, how you can get to a system, how you can build a system for yourself that can give you that extremely high level of experience, high connectivity with a wide range of music, and not just go to the audiophile corner and everything else, just forget about it, and it will train you to just forget all your favorite music and just adopt certain type of genres which will be sufficient for you. So that's the marketing way. But my way, what I share on my other channel, is how you can go to have a high level of experience yet maintain a broad perspective. So when you put on music from your childhood, and you will, wow, just hear them like hearing them for the first time. And now I'm going to share, I have a couple of LPs lined up for me, but of course what I'm saying also applies to digital music as well. But today we are going to have a look at several LPs, and one of them is I'm going to show it first. So this is Rush, and Rush is Power Windows, and I have to say that I'm a huge Rush fan. I really love these Canadians. They are absolutely fantastic, phenomenal, extremely talented musicians. It's just fantastic, and it's kind of incredible that three guys make so much sound. It's only three people playing the music, but it feels like you have a huge band of tons of people on stage playing. It's just incredible. 3 of them can make so much sound. And really creative music, creative lyrics, and it's fantastic. However, what is not fantastic is the mastering of many of their records. Their first 2 albums were mastered pretty well, but the later ones are just flawed, really badly flawed. And Power Windows is unfortunately no exception for that. And if your audio system is capable to drag deeper into the soul of music, then you will be sorely disappointed with this album. And that is because the balance is just messed up, totally messed up. Bass is toned down a lot. It would need at least 10, 15 or maybe 20 dB higher level for the bass, and the highs are about 20 dB higher than the mid-range. Just insane. So it's bright as F, and even if you manage to knock off 16 dB from the high frequencies, it will still blow your eardrums out. Now, you have to know that a lot of music which was rock music or popular music where you have concert recordings, a lot of them were designed to be played back at extremely loud level of volumes. So that's where we have a dichotomy on how we reproduce music and how it will sound good or it will not sound good when you play in your home. That was it mastered to be played at a normal listening volume, or was it mastered to be played back at a listening volume that will blow your eardrums? And Rush is mixed, at least this album, the Power Windows, it was mixed to be played back at a volume that will absolutely blow the eardrums to the smithereens. That's when the bass will be at that level that it will be enjoyable. So essentially you will have to play it more than 100 dB for the mid-range, and that's when the bass will start to liven up, to get some life. So I would say probably recommend to play it at 120 dB at the mid-range, which will be just probably impossible in most of our homes, because the cops will come, your neighbors will call the cops on you in less than 2 minutes. So, and if you live in certain parts of the world, that the police has the authority to confiscate your stereo system if you are causing such grave noise pollution. So it might not be a good idea to test your local laws and your neighbors. However, the problem with this album is even if you play it at that volume, your bass will sound good, yeah, but you will still have the problem that your highs will be playing at 140 to 150 dB, which will just ruin your hearing for good. And also, I don't know any stereo systems that sold for home use that can play at 150 dB level, because I think it will not get to 150, but it will be still 140 plus. So to avoid compression AF, you will need a system that is theoretically able to produce 150 dB. I have Kintaro here and he's waking up. Let me just show him. He's here. Okay, he just woke up. So you will need a system that can produce 150 dB in the high frequencies to avoid massive clipping, which would just permanently damage your hearing in zero time. And that's not available. So if you plan on doing that, plan on enacting a live concert with Rush, just be prepared that you will need EQing, and you will need to take off at least 20 to 30 dB from the high frequencies to make it listenable at all. And in a home system you can still make it listenable. If you listen to it at normal volumes, you still want to cut down like 20 to 30 dBs of the high frequencies. It depends exactly how much, depending on your listening preferences and your room acoustics. And you also need to add 10 to 20 to 30 dB of the bass listening to your room acoustic, depending on your room acoustics and your listening preferences. So you will need to massively EQ this album to make it listenable. And for those of you who don't know about EQing, EQing is something that at least for like an analog system. In the analog way, if you are EQing something, then you are introducing an element into the circuit that cuts down on the sound quality tremendously. That's only noticeable when you have a very high level audio system. Then adding a tone control will just almost ruin the experience for you, remove that layer of fine details, fine liveliness, fine life-likeness, and will leave you with a recording that you EQ'd to your listening preference. So now it's audible, bass sounds great, the highs don't fry your ears, but it has become lifeless. The magic is gone. So that's why it's really not an easy pursuit to connect to music through your audio system, because you also need that recording to support your quest to connect to the music. And some of the music were not mastered with the intent to support you on that path. And unfortunately, Rush is one of that. So, although it sounds like very detailed and very very detailed on my system, which is which is like a straight path system, so I don't have an EQ added into the mix, and no tone controls, and but it's not something that I am happy about how it sounds. It could sound much better if the mastering people would have done a good job with it. And sadly, that's a trend, that's a curse with Rush, that they constantly used folks who just butchered their recordings. The first two were get the thumbs up, but then dive to madness. And they realized that things were not going well, and at one point then they fired their mastering engineer and got someone else who have been doing the exact same mistakes as the previous one did. So they didn't have anything positive going on there. It wasn't solved, sadly. So now Kintaro is watching at me with really curious eyes, and that's a signal for me to check the time. And he's looking at me like, what do you want to do? Let's show him. He was giving me the looks. What's happening here? I don't know what's happening here. So basically what's happening here is that we need to take a little break, and then I will continue about the music after this little break. So for you it will take some time. For me and Kintaro it will be only a few minutes until we continue our exploration with additional music, and I will show you that when you have a highly refined audio system, it doesn't mean that you cannot play any rock music, progressive rock or pop music. You are stuck with classical only, nothing else, just the conductor conducting. But I will show you other rock music and popular music, and that that sounds extremely good on very high level stereo gear, and they don't need any tone control whatsoever. So let's stay tuned. Thank you for being here. Bye bye.